Middle East and Assyria is fake. Though this may seem like a bold claim to some, it is unfortunately the truth. In the Middle East during the rule of...
We're going to use this video as a reference.
Other empires in the area did not even know of a land called Assyria or Assur.
Let's pay attention, y'all. I'll break it all down in like 5 minutes once this video is done.
The ruling elite has made it their mission to completely deceive the world of its history, in confusing and conflicting geography, even from the time the Library of Alexandria was burned. The artifacts that we see, called Assyrian or Babylonian, are actually fabricated and stolen artifacts. The artifacts that are labeled Assyrian, for the most part, don't even look Shemitic.
Just pay attention.
They have the exact phenotypes of white Europeans.
Fake. All this is fake. All this you've seen, fake. Built by human beings and placed in the Middle East, where they call today Egypt.
Was in America. His art style would have displayed Negro features rather than purely Indo-European.
American continent. Just pay attention.
The true Assyrians were, without a shadow of a doubt, the American mound builders. This was a proud mound building civilization that was also warlike, advanced, tall, and conquered many tribes near and far. Just like scripture and classical history describes the Assyrians. Many Assyrian and Babylonian artifacts are complete fakes.
Fake.
Go into depth and prove
all this is fake.
Many, if not most, of the most famous artifacts from the false Assyrian Babylon are indeed forged. In fact, many of them were created as late as the 1930s. This is actually a very easy thing to prove. Let's look at some of the artifacts, shall we?
All this shit, fake.
As much as we love the concept of the Anunnaki, none of the large panels and statues of them are real.
Fake.
And I will prove it. Every single statue made is supposedly carved out.
Look, so what's going on here is, these statues that you see, right, they're made up of a thing called gypsum, alabaster. Now let's pay attention. You know what I'm saying? It says, it forms a phase of the art of Mesopotamia, right, differing in particular because of its much greater use of stone and gypsum alabaster for large sculpture. Pay attention, y'all. We coming in. We coming in, y'all.
A material called alabaster, one of the softest, most brittle rocks.
The Assyrians used a form of gypsum for the reliefs and carved it, right, using iron and copper tools. The stone is easily eroded when exposed to wind and rain when it was used outside. The reliefs are presumed to have been protected by varnished paint. That's what they're telling you. Watch.
Known to man. It is
putting together something for y'all to see.
That can be scratched by a mere fingernail. Why is this important? Because look at how they were supposedly discovered.
What?
Now, I have a few problems.
Now, why this is crazy is because if you understand what gypsum alabaster is, right? This is a very soft rock. Soft like chalk, soft like charcoal. I'm saying these, they tell you, they weigh about 40 tons, 20 tons and all that. If this was found falling on the side like it is, a 40-ton object, soft as chalk or soft as charcoal, so soft that you can actually scratch it with your fingernails, that's how soft this rock actually is. If a 40-ton object built out of something like that tumbled over, it would crumble into dust. Pay attention. Use common sense, beloved. It would turn into dust. Let's listen.
Images. Number one, alabaster is only a bit harder than chalk.
All these. Look at them. They claimed they found these, right? Now from here, I'm gonna have to mute it. This is for my brother. I'm gonna link him too. His name is Chief Maury. All right. So from right here, we gonna mute, or we gonna continue, right? So you can see, because I don't want him to like block the video. Look. See how they found these? They found these on the sides. That's what they told you. But this was a lie. This is not a excavation site, but a construction site. Understand what you're actually seeing. This is not an excavation site. This is a construction site. These are little human beings, and they built these things here. They put them shits together, and they put them in the Middle East to fool you, to let you believe the lies that Egypt was really in Mesopotamia and Africa. These are lies. This entire thing is weighed about 40 tons, right? And it's made from gypsum alabaster, soft. If it fell over like this, it would have turned into powder, right? Let's look, observe. Where we at?
There's no way that these statues were made for the out.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Made. Look how perfect they are. But they tell you they're over 2,500 BCs and all that. Fake. All this that you see was built by the human beings. All this. Human features. That's why they had to cut off the nose and all that, so you don't know. Right? Fake. Let's pay attention, y'all. What's going on here is, look, pause. What you're seeing, you remember when they start telling you about ISIS? Let me show you. You remember when they start telling you, remember all the news media start talking about these ISIS members and all that? And they start putting ISIS all through the media and start pushing it to the forefront? What you're actually seeing on this camera right now, when I flip it back, you're actually seeing ISIS members going to Egypt and smashing these so-called ancient Egyptian statues. But you will be amazed to actually see what comes out when they start smashing the statues. So you have your ISIS members to thank for what I'm actually about to show you. Watch.
In years, the truth. The truth is, these statues were not carved out of solid alabaster. They were most likely made of a plaster of some sort, or some sort of cement.
What is these? Steel beams. Look at them. Steel beams. As they start smashing them out, you see steel beams. Look, observe, y'all. Ancient Mesopotamians, as they would tell you, didn't know about these. They wasn't using these to build that. We built structures of solid objects. Look how we built the pyramids. We didn't need these. But as ISIS members begin to smash everything up, you start seeing them exposed in each other, right? Now, steel beams were designed in the 1910, the year 1910. That was about like 100 plus, maybe about 120 years ago, okay? Pay attention, y'all. Don't let this go over your head. Steel beams was invented, maybe about 120 years ago in the year 1910, right? However, they would have you believe that these so-called statues and stuff in Egypt is over 2,500 years old, BC. Listen.
When ISIS began to destroy these idols, they noticed something very peculiar. There were steel rods within them. It looked like something off a Hollywood movie set. Those steel rods are actually called rebars.
Look.
Rebars are metal bars meant to reinforce concrete. They were invented in 1910 to hold together concrete. This is an invention that helped spark the Industrial Revolution.
Look.
Now, this is the information the elites don't want us to know. When we find out that they spent billions of dollars on faking Middle Eastern history, the hoax quickly begins to fall apart. Want even more proof that these statues were not carved from solid gypsum stone?
Let's go.
Look at this.
Look at this. As the ice, look, remember the shit I showed you earlier, that big ass statue? Looked like a lion with wings on it? Look, when the ISIS members start smashing at the top of it, look what it's showing inside of it. It was actually hollow, right? And this is a block of concrete that they slide down into it. You know what I'm saying? This is the ISIS member. Look, y'all. He has a hammer in his hand, and he's smashing that shit. And as he smashed the face off, it reveals the actual concrete column that's actually inside of it. That's what makes it so heavy. This is actually made by them. Watch again.
The official story is that the Lamassu statues were carved from giant gypsum boulders and weighed 40 tons each because they were solid and not hollow. The above image confirms that to be a lie.
Facts.
The gentleman of ISIS standing upon the statue has struck off the top layer of the Lamassu's face, revealing a rectangular shaft of what appears to be cement. This shows that the statue is indeed hollow and perhaps even made of some sort of plaster like what is used in movie sets. Now, if that blows your mind, look at this.
This is a construction of this. I hope you're seeing what's going on. This is a construction of this. Yet they tell you this is over 2,500 years old. You see this? This is a crane. Let me zoom in. This is a crane, y'all. You think there was a crane around 2,500 years ago? Huh? This right here is a crane, a lifting object. That is this. Let's keep going. Come on, y'all. Come on with the commercials.
Look around. The world is changing
Zai.
fast. And while some people hang on to the way
Commercials
things
on
have
us.
always been,
Zai.
Now look at this image of an ISIS member destroying a...
Let's go again. I'm about to play about 2 more minutes of this, and then we're going to finish it on the way we know how to do it. I just need to expose certain things to you first.
But what's that in the top left corner? Is that a hot rolled structural steel beam or a C-beam sticking out?
Look at what's happening, y'all. What's this over here? What's this? Ain't that a C-beam? So you got to know how to find the facts, man, and the clues. You got to look with the third eye, man. After they start smashing these so-called ancient structures, is this not a steel beam? Let's keep going.
Out of the temple, steel beams were invented in the late 19th century and brought about.
Is that not what you just seen protruding out of that so-called statue? Huh? Let's go.
The Industrial Revolution. This palace is said to date back to the 3rd century BC.
Hear that?
But here's the thing, in the 3rd century BC, no one used C-beams to build temples.
Facts.
The only artifacts of claimed Mesopotamian stock that we can conclude to be authentic are smaller artifacts like cuneiform tablets, small mirrors,
All that Egypt
some
shit is
sculptures,
fake.
pottery and jewelry. These would have been taken from America and relabeled as Mesopotamian.
Facts.
With close examination of the image, we can clearly see that the jewelry and pottery are
Copper.
American style. The artifacts are made out of solid copper that has been deoxidized with a salt scrub to look brand new. During this time in the Middle East, copper was extremely rare and had to be mixed with other trace minerals like
Pay
iron
attention,
or
y'all.
tin to make things like
I'm only
brass
getting
and bronze.
started. Y'all know I do.
Sometimes they even would mix copper with gold to make things like
They tell you, see all them artifacts you just seen, all copper artifacts, but they tell you found in Egypt. The largest copper mine is found in, where does that say? Utah. The largest copper mine is found in Utah, Bingham Canyon. Other major mines are found in Arizona, Michigan, New Mexico, Montana, South America, Chile. The world's largest producers and Peru are both major producers of copper. You see Mesopotamia anywhere. Let's keep going.
like rose gold. But we know that the Americas produce more copper than anywhere else on Earth.
Facts.
Specifically Utah, which has the largest copper mine on the planet. And America's Great Lakes just so happen to be the hotspot for copper artifacts, having more copper artifacts found in that region than anywhere else on Earth.
Let's go.
But here's the thing.
Earth's largest and purest copper deposits are found around North America's Great Lakes, and at some point, Native Americans learned to harvest the ore and heat, hammer, and grind it into tools. Let them
No
tell.
country in the Middle East produces copper, at least not enough copper to trade.
Look, where Mesopotamia is supposed to be, over here in Africa, y'all. You see copper nowhere, y'all. Tell me, y'all. Look at the American continent when it comes on to copper. Do you see it here? This is showing you the copper disbursement. Producers, look. You see it in Africa? Remember, they ain't tell you come from Europe, so that don't matter. We focused on Africa. And here. Skip all that. Now, let's get to Father Crespi. This is what I really got onto this video for.
Father Crespi in Ecuador.
Now, you remember I brought up Father Crespi earlier. This is what he looks like. Let me holler at y'all for a second. Let me greet my spiritual family. Family, y'all remember when I spoke on Father Crespi in the beginning of the life? Huh? Do y'all remember? Drop a 9 if you remember. Come on, I told you I'm talking to a camera and I'm here by myself and I need y'all to work with me. Please, communicate with me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember earlier when I talked to you about Father Crespi, if you was here in the live. All right, cool. So I told you Father Crespi was a human being. Now, notice all them ancient artifacts I just showed you that they say so-called is in Egypt and they weigh 40 tons. You're going to realize they're not anciently that big. And you're going to see where they actually got them from. Now, let's look at Father Crespi. If you was late to live and late to the class, it's not my fault, beloved. I got a job to do.
For some artifacts that were given to him by the indigenous people of South America.
Look at Crespi, y'all. He claimed the indigenous people. Remember, I read him, or I broke him down on Wikipedia, right? They told you he was a human explorer, conquistador, right? Father Crespi. The name Father Crespi suggests he's religious, so he's coming with Christos, Christianity, Christ, right? From Spaniards, conquistadors, right? And he claimed some ancient people. Remember, I told you in California, you had ancient goddesses that lived in there. So, and I showed you how they renamed a bunch of names in California to San Diego, a bunch of Los Angeles, a bunch of Spanish names. That's because that's after the conquistadors took over, right? So now he's telling you, you know what I'm saying? They snitching on themselves. He's telling you Father Crespi linked up with ancient people in the land of California, and he got some gifts from them. Let's see these gifts.
People who interviewed Father Crespi said this. We asked Father Crespi how he came by such marvelous things. He said he headed the local parish over 50 years after studying at Italy's University in Milan, where the subject of archaeology had caught his interest. Following graduation, he became a priest and was assigned to Ecuador's beautiful city of Suensa to work among the Indians. In time, he came to love them. Moreover, in South America, he had opportunity to further his archaeological interest. To his great surprise and delight,
you're going to see how you're going to get to it. Look. You remember seeing this? Huh? Do you remember seeing this earlier when I'm telling you all that shit is fake? These are anciently found in California, in America. These. Look.
Brought a host of Indians bearing gifts to the kind man who performed baptisms and marriages and was their friend in trouble. Aware of Father Crespi's enthusiasm for archaeology, the grateful Indians brought him ancient objects long hidden in the jungle. He was a private person with a big heart and a deep interest in the past. Where and how do the Indians find these incredible things, we wonder?
Look at them.
They just get them from the caves and subterranean chambers in the jungles, he answered in an offhand manner. There are over 200 kilometers of tunnels starting here in Suensa. They run from the mountains down to the eastern lowlands near the Amazon. Now, why is this important? This is important because Father Crespi had an archaeological collection of ancient Egyptian, ancient Sumerian, Babylonian.
He had all of them. Look.
And things beyond identification.
Look. Don't they look like these?
That he had were made out of pure gold, which shows that these are not forged because nobody fakes artifacts with gold. But among these artifacts is the same Lamassu that they show us today in the Middle East.
The same thing.
It's a small trinket, an idol made out of solid metal. There was also another Mesopotamian god in his collection with the head of an eagle.
Yeah. Now you see where they're getting all the goofy shit over there from. They built it. Okay? They built it. They found it and relocated it. You know what I'm saying? You are gods on the American continent. Okay? Gods. Remember what I'm telling you. Most divine. The land of America is the land of the gods and goddesses. Remember that. All right? These are human beings, not gods. Human beings. Father Crespi is a human being. What he holds in his hand is Thoth. Ancient Egypt. This is from ancient Egypt. So the argument is ancient Egypt is here in America. It was not over there in the Middle East. It was here, right? California and downwards was ancient Egypt. Let's keep going.
Same thing that we can also find in the Middle East. But remember, like I told you, the ones in the Middle East are indeed fake.
But it already is an original, but there's the same statue, the same form in the British Museum.
Everybody, it's Tony
Come on with y'all goofy
I'm
shit,
reaching out
man.
to you right now because I'm mad.
I'm trying to see none of the humans right now.
Living in fear. I'm so tired of everyone trying to control our
Y'all see what's going on, though?
So I've worked really hard in this last year
You know what I'm
to reach people wherever they were when they needed it most.
Oh, yeah, they don't want to see what we talk about today. We got a small class, and that's great. They don't want to see what we talk about today. Let them go. Let them leave. It's beautiful for me. You know what I'm saying? I can focus on Luke's tiny questions. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to focus on Luke's tiny questions. Since I have a smaller class today, beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
If you own your future, somebody else does.
I'm telling you. Now,
it's very possible that Sumerian artifacts like these could be found all throughout the entire Americas, but were quickly
that whole video you can go watch for yourself.
and hidden from the public. But then later in the 1900s, were then faked.
Let's get to them.
A lot of these Mesopotamian.
Let's get to them right now.
The Behistun inscription should decay at a much faster rate than the Sphinx in Egypt. The Sphinx in Egypt is only like 2,000 left in Egypt, where the Great Pyramids, a few tombs, and speaking of Egypt,
now let's get to them.
The majority of the
constructing
monuments and great statues that you can find in Egypt today are indeed fake. Don't get me wrong, there was an Egyptian society in that area, but the majority of the architecture simply just no longer exists. It was either weathered away or buried under the sand. So in order to make this place seem more intriguing as a historical site, they had to fake a lot of architecture and artifacts. In reality, the only remaining
human beings on a construction site. In the whole video, I'm going to break down how they designed this shit right here. And I'm going to show you how this face really represents George Washington. Okay? Right here. This is a Masonic image. That's why they had to cut the nose off. This is really the image of George Washington, the so-called first president of the country that they built. Right? I'll show that to you in a whole nother live. I'll break this down by itself and show you how they tried to redesign him because he was a Mason, Freemason. Let's keep going.
Of ancient Egyptian society that was left in Egypt were the Great Pyramids, a few tombs, and the Sphinx, which was also buried under the sand for the most part. Just like many of the Mesopotamian statues, we can also find more rebars and metal armature in the ruins of Egypt. This is an image of the Karnak temple. As you can see, there's metal armature.
We ain't even get to the gems yet, yo. I'm just only getting started. We ain't get to the gems yet. This is nothing.
Like a Hollywood movie scene.
It's nothing.
During this quote-unquote excavation, they had
so-called excavation, right? But look, they're not bringing dirt away from the site. They're bringing bricks and blocks. They got a whole trolley system, train system set up, y'all. Look how goofy they think you are, right? If this is an excavation site, the only thing should be going on is dirt digging up, okay? These are perfectly designed blocks, no dirt on them. These goofies are bringing it in to the construction site. I'm trying to paint the picture for you because you've been lied to. You have been lied to, beloved.
Had to construct a railway in every spot that they were excavating. If you think about it, that makes absolutely no sense at all. Why would they need to construct a railway just to dig up a city?
Exactly.
Or you may think, they needed to put the dirt in the trolley to move it away so they can continue to dig up. But if you look at this image, they're not putting any dirt in the wagon. They're putting bricks because they're bringing the bricks to the site, not away from the site.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on.
The truth is, they created that railway.
A picture changes 1,000 words,
so they
y'all.
continue to bring brick after brick to build it up. This is not a picture of an excavation. This is a picture
Construction.
of construction.
Facts.
Look at this early image of the ruins of Pylon in Karnak. As you can see, it couldn't have been under the sand for thousands of years, as the previous photo suggests. We know that they did not just excavate this because there are baby palm trees within the structures. This shows that those structures on the ground were not recently dug up. The palm trees are the only vegetation in the entire area. That means that they were recently planted. And all those palm trees are the same exact age as the structures. Also, in the side of the structure, there are 4 holes for metal rebars that would not even be visible if the structure were dug up out of the ground.
Come on.
Now let's look at a more recent photo of the same structure.
Come on.
From another angle, we can see those same palm trees are now fully grown adults. Also, there's a lot more vegetation than previously. Now look at this photo of the same structure. As you can see, there's a crane above it.
I have one.
To it, you may ask. Well,
Magnetic sodas. Type in God King.
and
God
here's
King
the
Indiana.
image
You're
of
going to
some
see
of
him.
Egypt's most famous statues, the Abu Simbel statues.
Go back. Go back. We now get into the gems. Now we about to drop gems for real. Now the live is about to get serious. Share the live.
Here's this image of
Share the live. A construction site. Look, y'all. Look, man. With your third eye, man. It's time for you to stop seeing what they want you to see. It's time for you to see things for what they actually are. Okay? It's time to increase the vibration of the mind. Increase the vibration of the soul. Knowledge is power. And if you vibrate on correct knowledge, you naturally increase power. You naturally increase the vibration. As I've told you many times, these human beings tell you you're only using 10% of your brain. What do they mean by that? They're simply trying to tell you, as an electrical god, currently you're only using enough electricity to only conduct enough power for you to put out only 10% of brain power. And they lied to you and they told you the next percent of it is 90% junk DNA, right? The reason why you have 90% junk DNA, like they're telling you to sit just